Hi, I'm Natalie and this is a video for APCAM. This video is about anxiety, and really this is for young people and parents and adults who might be struggling with a lot of stress or anxiety. The first thing I will say is, if you feel that you are suffering with anxiety and feelings of uncontrollable stress and worry, please see your GP. That is your first port of call, and it's really, really important to share those feelings. I know it's hard to get an appointment at the moment, and you might feel, oh, I shouldn't bother them with my feelings because there's COVID-19 and all these other things. It's still really important. So if you are really struggling, please see your GP. So I'm going to talk through 3 things that I think are really helpful for those struggling with anxiety. Anxiety is a mental illness that is born out of too much stress and too much worry over a period of time. We know that worrying and stress is completely normal. We have had the stress response, which is flight, fight or freeze, since the dawn of time. It's what's inbuilt in us to keep us safe from danger and from threat. The problem with the modern world is that we are now having these stress responses in a disproportionate way. We're getting really stressed over modern life, and choosing what to have for dinner and things like that. And that is how anxiety can start to really, really build. And when we're feeling uncontrollable amounts of worry and stress, it can lead to poor concentration, it can lead to lots of other emotions like anger and irritability, it can lead to poor sleep. It's exhausting and it's absolutely debilitating. And I think it's probably one of, if not the most misunderstood mental illness. So there is a lot of information out there online, and I will signpost you at the end of this to some really fantastic organisations that have a lot more on anxiety. This is just 3 simple things that I think are really effective and might work for you or someone you know. So the first thing is something called Complete the Cycle. And now I've taken this from a book that I really enjoyed called Burnout, which is by Amelia and Emily Nagoski. And they write about how we can unlock the stress cycle. And what they remind us of is that animals, wild animals, are quite often seen to tremble after a stressful event, such as being chased by a predator. We see animals shake off their stress to release it. And the problem in the modern world is quite often we walk around going through stress and then we don't do anything with it, and it stays in our bodies, and those hormones stay in our bodies. So what they suggest is make sure every day you have an opportunity to complete your cycle of stress, to release those hormones out of your body. Obviously, the most effective way of doing that is exercise and movement, which we know, but it can also be deep breathing. It can be socialising, or it could be something like a creative outlet. I have signposted the book and explained this in more detail in my notes. But something to consider in your day is, am I getting an opportunity to release those stress hormones out of my body in a way that cavemen would have done when they were being chased by a bear? The second thing to do is about looking at your concerns, your worries, your stress, everything that's going on in your head, and actually clarifying and dividing your thoughts into 2 lists. You have a list of things you can control through problem solving, and a list of things you cannot control, like COVID-19. There's a lot of those worries at the moment, a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of things that we just can't control. But by listing those things, we can really start to manage our thought processes. For those things that we can control, we can go through an exercise of problem solving, and we list what the concern is, what can we do about it, and all the different options. What option do we prefer? How are we going to make a plan? How can we implement that plan? For the things we can't control, such as COVID-19, financial worries, all those different things, we can list all of those thoughts and then go through a process of identifying what the negative thought patterns are. For example, I'm a massive catastrophizer. I will always jump to the worst possible scenario and catastrophize. That's what my brain likes to do in default. So I have to go through it, I have to list those worries and those negative thoughts and give a more balanced approach and reframe that thought. Now this is quite detailed and I'm not really doing justice to these two processes, so I have signposted the organisation Students Against Depression have 6 amazing module workbooks called Take Action Workbooks. They're available, they're free, and you can download them and print them, and they're very practical. But the module 6 talks about how to reframe our thinking, and that they go through the problem solving and the reframing negative thoughts. So I would really urge you to have a look at them. It's not just for those who are suffering with depression or anxiety. It's a really good practice, I think, for everyday life. And it's worth having a look at the other modules as well, particularly if you are really struggling or know someone who is. The third thing, and this is something that comes again and again and again, especially at the moment, is monitoring our use of technology. I'm a massive fan of technology, I think we all are, but it's just being very sensible about how we use it, when we use it, and how it's making us feel. So thinking about social media, I've said before about filtering what we're looking at, but being very, very aware of how you feel afterwards. And if you are struggling with anxiety, again, like for me, my anxiety might feel worse in the morning, so I don't look at the news. And if I'm feeling quite good and quite resilient, I might look at some headlines. But at the moment, for me, I'm avoiding looking at the news too much. If you're feeling like that, and same with social media, there's this, temptation to always compare ourselves with others. Who's living the lockdown life better? Who's having a great time, etc. So just be aware of those things. However, there's some amazing hashtags that are very positive, lots of them around positive mental health, which are great. There's also some really good apps to help with mindfulness and meditation and calming down. Headspace is great, and although there is a subscription, there's also some free stuff on there, and same with Calm. But there's quite a lot. So have a look and see how you can make technology work for you and not against you. So those are the 3 things that I would say are particularly effective if you are struggling with anxiety at the moment. Completing the cycle, focusing and dividing what you can and can't control, and monitoring your use of technology. So the 2 organisations that I think are really fantastic on anxiety is Anxiety UK, anxietyuk.co.uk, and Young Minds, who have masses on there about all sorts of mental illnesses and conditions. They have a lot on anxiety, but I will attach those in my notes and some other bits and pieces too. If you do have any questions or you want to talk about those suggestions in any more detail, please do get in touch. All right, thank you very much.